Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are bringing you, or more specifically, Sean, who is front and center.
That's right.
Is bringing you his list of top 10 family games, or top 10. I think you specifically said these are games you're very confident you will always be willing to play with a brand new player.
Definitely, they're friendly. They're family friendly, but every time we've invited a couple over, these are ones that we always go to. It's like, oh, you've never played the game. Let's try this.
Yeah, Max.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
I know. You're
so
different from this angle.
Yeah, he's so far away.
Yeah.
So we're
You're
just
cuter from back here.
Probably. It's certainly debatable. We are mostly just going to be here to provide comedy, looks, and general
The comedy part is also debatable.
conversation. Because this is not our list. I really, here on the channel, enjoy the theory of people bringing and crafting their own lists. And so Max was invited to bring one as well. He just found it
Too daunting. Couldn't do it.
So he will,
I will.
down the road.
I will.
That being said,
I've
let's go
not
ahead.
played a single one of these, Jesse.
I thought you said you played. Oh, you had played 2 of the extensive list.
Yeah,
not,
to the extent
and
none
0
of these have ever been on the table
Well,
in my presence.
you're about to find out all about them. Sean,
All right.
the lead is now yours. Start with your least favorite of the favorites.
My least favorite of these.
I think it's going to be
Ooh.
Hadera.
No, I actually love Hadara.
Dang it. It's Hadara? Oh, it is.
It's Hadara.
That's an A.
Yes, it is.
No.
Least favorite.
Wait. Let's reframe.
That's tough. That's tough.
I actually want you to, and we're going to be quiet for just a moment.
Okay.
How did you go about choosing your collection? What was the methodology in this list? And is there a rank to them, genuinely?
Okay.
I don't know if I can be quiet for a second.
Max, I made a promise, and you will not fail me.
So I started with this when you asked to make a top 10 list. I started with, well, I think I'm just going to do a family list because that's who I predominantly get the board game with. I'm fortunate enough to be able to come out here every Wednesday almost now, but I'm at home the other 6 days a week. I've got a large family, so we have board games that we like to get to the table, and these are they. I, in a nerdy type way, keep track of most of our plays. So I have on Board Game Geek where we've logged our plays. So all of these have been played more than 10 times at my house. So they fit into that. They get hit the table a lot, and they're ones that my family enjoys. So
What's the range at your house from new gamer to, is your partner a heavy gamer? And then what is the age ranges?
So my wife, I wouldn't say is a heavy gamer, but she is willing to almost learn any game.
Cool.
The only negative experience she had was with one recently, Pendulum. The timers and
Sure.
it overwhelmed her.
Sure.
But short of that, she'll sit down and learn a game. Cool. So that's great. Going to my children, I have a 5-year-old in kindergarten who plays games. Now there are some that he really does get already. Like he'll set up Ticket to Ride and hand out tickets. He knows you get 4 cards to start the game. Like he can set it up and plays pretty well. But we kind of just let him do his thing because I want him to have fun. And that's, I think, what this channel's all about.
No.
No.
I don't
Seriously.
have fun.
Oh.
This
So
channel's predominantly around ducks.
GMT next week and that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I've got a 5-year-old and my oldest is 17 this November.
Okay.
So got a range of kindergarten up to junior and high school.
So let's start digging in. Max is not familiar with any of these.
Oh, I have played Lords of Waterdeep. One time.
Oh yeah, you did say
That's
that
right.
one
That's
time.
the only one I've ever played.
And
So-
I am familiar with, I think, probably 50%.
I've also played Ticket to Ride Europe, but not Ticket to Ride 10th Anniversary Edition.
All right, stop
It's
giving
special.
things
All
away,
right,
Max.
let's go.
Let's
So-
dive in.
That doesn't give anything away. They're on the table,
How
Jesse.
dare you?
The quick game that's very easy to get to the table is Las Vegas. This is just a simple dice chucking game. You literally set out 6 casinos, which are 1 through 6 on the dice. You roll all your dice, place them on the casino. I didn't know how far you wanted to go into it.
No, you're good. You're good. You continue
Okay.
talking.
So you roll the dice, put them on a casino. You collect the money from that casino. If you have the most dice at that casino, it's very multi-language. There's a lot of rule books. Which language are you going to read in?
Well, I was just checking.
Probably the only one
flavor
you know.
text. He's looking for flavor text.
I'm just determining if there is any.
I'm not
Welcome
sure.
to the casinos.
All right, what's Vegas got?
Try your luck gambling at 6 great Las Vegas casinos with different amounts to be won at each. Decide where you place your dice in every round and try to outwit your competitors by maximizing your advantage. But be sure to keep your cool in the battle for the big bucks. The tables can turn on you At any time.
I wasn't
the
expecting the
turntables
word
turn.
battles. That just seems out of place.
So
for this.
it's just literally on your turn, you have a handful of dice, you chuck them, whatever you roll, then you say, okay, I rolled a 6 and a 1, so you have to choose which casino you go to. You place them there, you take turns until everybody's placed all their dice, you see who put them where, and they get money, whoever had the most at each casino.
Why does your family and you specifically enjoy this game?
My wife is from Las Vegas, so she loves anything that has Las Vegas in it.
A
thematic.
little bit biased.
A little bit. And it's just easy and fun. You can keep talking. You can talk smack like I'm the owner of this casino. It's just fun. You can interact. It's really a ease into the game and the kids can play it and anyone else. If we're in for a deeper Las Vegas game, we love Lords of Vegas, but that's a lot more than Las Vegas.
We'll do that on another
Yeah.
list.
All right.
What are you grabbing now?
Let's go with Jamaica. That's another easy one.
Okay.
Jamaica is a beautiful game.
Thank you
It's got
for just
pretty cards.
getting that rule book.
I knew you wanted to look for some flavor text.
I always want to look
Ooh, I
for
like those
flavor
wooden
text.
dice.
So you've got these pretty ships. You're sailing around the island. It's who can make it around the island first, back to Port Royal. On each turn, you're going to roll dice, and everybody's going to place a card. So everybody gets to do stuff every turn, which is another great thing in a game. So there's no downplay. No
This
flavor
rulebook's-
text.
It's too confusing. I'm not looking for it. The rulebook opens in very weird ways.
You could at least read one person's biography.
I couldn't figure out how the rulebook opens.
Now
so
I'm
I-
intrigued.
It's a treasure map.
What?
See, Max, I was intimidated.
Background
Either way.
and aim of the game.
Oh, we
In
found it for
February
you.
1678, after a long career of piracy, Henry Morgan cleverly manages to get himself named governor of Jamaica, charged with driving out pirates and buccaneers. Rather than doing that, he invites all his former associates and brothers in arms to settle there, where they're able to finally enjoy the fruits of their activities with total impunity. 30 years later, the Great Challenge is organized to celebrate his nomination in true style. A race around the island, at the end of which the winning team is the one having amassed the greatest quantity of gold in its holds. All aboard!
So,
Nice.
what do you need to tell people about this game, and why do you and your family enjoy it?
So we love this one again. All ages can play this game. You're rolling dice. The person that rolled the dice puts them in an order. Everybody chooses a card they're going to play. You flip it over, and you take the actions based upon how the dice were placed by the person that rolled. So this one would be move forward 4, move forward 3. You go around the board, you pick up cannons to help you fight. Gold is victory points at the end, and some places you have to pay food to land there, and you're just racing around the island. So it's a quick game. There's some battle involved, and it's just fun. Everybody has fun when they play it.
Nice.
Let's-
But we can't play that here then. Because we just don't have fun.
Certainly not.
All serious. All serious.
All serious all the time.
All right.
You missed. Yep, you got it. You figured it out.
But see, it's like a treasure chest when you open it up.
I am still scared of
Oh,
it.
you forgot the board.
Yeah, the board is quite
I thought
important.
that was sinking a little bit there. All right.
What's next, Sean?
Probably number 1. I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way.
Number one.
We're moving from 8
I didn't
to
realize-
Well, they are in no particular order. I said that at the beginning.
I didn't realize there was an order. Apparently, there is.
No, there is only one number for sure, and this is number 1.
Tell me about
My wife loves this game. It is beautiful. If you-
Golem edition specifically?
Yes, because Century came out as Spice Road, which was wooden blocks, which is cool, but look at here. Look at what you get when you play with this beautiful game.
Woo!
Look at those gems. Don't you just want to play with them?
I want to eat
You don't
them.
even know what the game is, and you just want to... That's just pretty. Mm-hmm. So the aesthetics are very pleasing.
Ooh, and I can see you have everything sleeved,
Yes, everything
protected.
is... With kids, most games are sleeved.
Okay, fair enough.
Gotta increase the durability of the game. So in this game, the cards are set out where you've got some scoring conditions at the top, and it's based upon set collection of gems. The cards that you're going to get, there's a row of cards, and you draft them. The first one's always free, but you can spend gems to draft further up the row. But you're building this engine of cards where one gem, yellow upgrades to green, green upgrades to blue, blue to pink. So pink are the most valuable, and they get you the most points on the point cards. So you're building this engine of how you play your cards, upgrading your gems, and how do you get to those higher victory point cards. And when you get 5, I believe, or 4, I'd have to look, to be sure. That triggers the end of the game, and whoever got the most points wins. But the fun part of this is just building. Everybody's building an individual engine. You can choose when to rest when you want, so it's not your typical you take a turn, you take a turn, you take a turn. Anybody can choose the rest when they want to, draw all their cards back up, and then reset their engine and go. So everybody's kind of playing at their own pace, and you're focusing on upgrading these beautiful gems, and it's a great time.
Papa, where do the crystal golems come from? The great masters craft them using soul crystals. Oh, but where do the soul crystals come from? From all over the world. They are very rare. Legend says they are the souls of people who died long before the first humans came to Carnivia. Well, when I grow up, I'm going to be a crystal trader. I'll travel the whole world and I'll find the very best crystals, and the monsters will make great big powerful golems from them, like the gatekeeper.
So these are just like, so what they were talking about there. So the victory points, you're getting these golems, but they have the gems built into them. So there's green and pink and blue. So you're building up to get these points, and these are kind of how I was explaining how some of the cards work. Is some cards will just give you a gem, others you transform green into something else, and you just kind of build your engine and go from there. But
Nice.
very fun.
I can put some stuff away for you if you
Sure.
want to go ahead and start drawing something else over.
All right.
Did you know that this game was all about people who died and turned into crystals?
I did not know that until you just read that.
That's why you have to read the flavor text.
That's why you have to read the flavor text, Sean.
Quackalope has opened a whole nother world for me.
We've done that for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Seven.
It would be nice to imagine what Quackalope has
All
done.
7 viewers, thank you. Speaking of storytelling, you have to love this game, Jesse.
Never played it.
Above and Below.
I've got it on the shelf right over there.
Okay.
You ever played it?
Along with Near and Far.
Yes.
Max, these questions are unreasonable.
Ryan Lockett
I've never played it.
and Red Raven Games have designed a series of games that my family loves. I think we own every game. Maybe not City of Iron. I think I've still been hunting for that one. I missed the second edition Kickstarter.
I thought Ryan Lockett was an Olympic swimmer.
That's
No.
Ryan Lockey.
Nope, that's a different one.
He's from Florida.
Thank.
Close.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you got the joke. Thank you. Appreciate that.
It wasn't.
I'm
that
here
good.
for you. Above and Below.
We never promised to be funny though, so
Again, as I said,
we
it's
promised to try.
did we?
humor is.
You
Debatable.
did promise humor.
Above and Below is a beautifully illustrated,
it's-
thematic adventuring game that has some resource and Euro elements to it.
It does. It's got some dice rolling and the exploring. When above and below, you're building your city above. You're exploring below into the cavern so that you can build those cities underneath. And then you're recruiting people into your village and using them to go out and explore. This game is beautiful. The artwork is amazing, and I actually just recently got the upgrade component. So these are nice little chits that are better to play with for the
Fancy.
resources. So the way that you go when you go down to explore, you open this beautiful book here, and I also got the expansion, so for more stories. But so Jesse I would love to play this game with Jesse. So like you roll the dice, you encounter a story. Let's just read a sample story. Do 182.
Amid a jungle of interwoven metal pipes, you find yourself standing before the legendary, nay, mythical, mechanical Maya bird. The elation and
Regurgitation.
mechanical Mayan bird?
Mina bird of elation.
What?
The mechanical Mina bird of elation and regurgitation. Its shiny beak is outstretched and halfway open. From childhood tales, you know what to do. Place an offering in its beak and pull gently on one of its hammered metal tail feathers. Before gently pulling on a tail feather, you put nothing in the bird's mouth, place 1 coin in the bird's mouth, or place 2 coins in the bird's mouth.
1 coin.
So in this exploring it's your choose your adventure. So you've sent your people into the cavern to explore. So you would choose. So you would say,
okay?
You wanted to place 1 coin, right?
Yeah.
So then you roll dice to see if you get successes. If you get the successes, then Jesse would read on and tell you what you got.
Oh, we're going through this book. The moment you pull the tail feathers, you hear a faint clucking. The moment you pull the tail feather, you hear a faint clunking sound from inside the bird's abdomen. The bird's beak opens wide, and it tilts its head backwards, swallowing the offering whole. Its beak then closes, and a series of grinding mechanical noises follow, accumulating in a dismaying hacking sound. as if the bird is trying to cough up something distinctly unpleasant. Why'd you climb inside the bird, Max?
Did I climb inside the bird?
Eventually.
Am I the distinctly unpleasant?
The bird opens its beak wide again, cranes its head forward, and deposits a shiny surprise for you. You gain 2 pots.
2 pots. So then you would get these wonderful 2-pot resources into your supply.
But this is an adventuring game.
It's fun, and the storytelling, I mean, every turn you want to explore. But you can't do that every turn, because you've got a limited number of workers.
Challenge accepted.
So there's worker placement and how you place the workers and what you do. Another fun thing that Ryan Lockett did, I don't know if you were aware of this, he placed expansion cards in another game that he released. So this says you found it. This is a bonus pack of above and below cards, and it was in the bottom of, I'm forgetting the other game it was under now. Anyway,
just little special trinkets and items,
neat.
and he just keeps giving love to it.
So what's better, this or Near and Far?
Near and Far is more complex in my opinion. Above and Below is easier to get to the table.
Okay.
The cool thing about Near and Far is it's got a campaign aspect, and like the book, as you turn the page, it's a new map in the journey. So they're both great. I think Near and Far is a little more complex.
But that was why you picked Above and Below for your family level.
The top 10 family level games.
Let's keep going.
Party favorite, Skull King. Personally, you said earlier what's the one you like the least? That's this one. I lose every time we play this game.
I mean, but that's not atypical. You still have to like games when you lose, right?
But I lose so poorly every time.
What's that? Again, that's not atypical.
Again. Skull King is a party game where you're pirates. You play from round 1 to round 10, and each round you get that number of cards. It's a bluffing game, set collection. You're trying to get a number of tricks. Trick-taking game is the better term that I should have used. There's probably some flavor text in there.
You finish your thing. Max is going to glance over it. He only has one job
to
here.
show you that this is a family favorite, it came with a score pad that has been exhausted.
Nice.
And we didn't get this game that long ago.
Nice.
So the family loves it. Very simple. My 5-year-old can play this game.
Does the family know you don't like it?
Oh yes, they do. Okay, they are like
That's probably why it's their favorite.
Here's what no, it is. Here's what they say. We only want to play if Dad will play, because they know that at some point I'm going to get salty and like be upset. So they enjoy that. But no, it's fun.
That's incredible.
It's an easy game to explain. Again,
Don't put that top back on yet.
Yes. It gets 6 people to the table, which is kind of hard to do, and it's a quick game. You probably play 45 minutes if you play through all 10 rounds. It's also one where you could just cut and say, we're going to play X
2,
amount
3,
of rounds
4,
and
5
be done.
rounds.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah. What you got, Max?
I got the Skull King.
Now, I do have to ask.
Just kidding.
My love of flavor text means we don't have anything to do, so I'm looking for flavor text. How much of this flavor text is new for you?
Almost all of it.
I was about to say.
I have to admit, before I started coming to Quackalope to play games, I don't think I ever read flavor
Sacrilegious.
text.
Max, where's that flavor text?
Ahoy, mateys! This is your captain, Grandpa Beck, and it's high time you learned how to play the grandest pirate game, Skull King. Brace yourselves to be lifted by the sweet wind of victory, or torn asunder on the jagged reef of defeat. Don't ye fear the cold hands of luck, for in Skull King you can win whether you be dealt cards high or low. Intrigued, are ye? Well then, pull up a barrel to sit on, pour yourself a mug of root beer, and let us begin.
I don't think Johnny Depp could have done that any better.
I've always considered him grizzled and old, so that was great.
That was
good.
Awesome.
I'm glad I did Grandpa Beck right.
What are we doing next?
Let's do Potion Explosion.
Okay. The one that you had to put back together because it fell all apart on the drive here.
So this one's fun. If anyone has a cell phone, has downloaded the game Candy Crush.
Shine on camera.
This is from Simon.
Yeah, it is. I actually played it at a Simon booth the first time I ever played it. My friend was nice enough to build me a 3D insert, because it normally comes with kind of a cardboard put together tray. But in this game, on your turn, you're going to select a marble, you pull it out. If you create an explosion...
You said a keyword Candy Crush.
Yes, I did.
I think a lot of people are familiar with that.
Yes, they are.
Never played Candy Crush.
So, like, for instance, if I pull this yellow marble, those 2 blue marbles hit. So then I would take those 2 blue marbles, and I would have them to place in potions that I have sitting in front of me. And the objective is to complete those potions.
Can you do that one more time? I missed it.
Sure, I'd love to do that one more time for you if I can find another. Okay, pull this black one right
Okay,
here.
let me see. Oh, okay.
Now those 3 blue ones hit, so
Okay.
I'll pull those blue ones.
You're chaining, so if you
Yeah.
have them collide
And
with
pull
each
this
other,
red one here. Those 3 yellows.
And then once you pull those yellows, those blues are actually going to hit. It's fun!
Ooh, this is getting me going.
And then
Oh,
you
I'm
throw them
ready.
back into the...
You can just.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is this? I mean, I know you said he did this, but does it come with something that does that? Stuff?
Yes,
Like you can still launch
it's a
them?
cardboard one. And this is for the expansion. He built this little cauldron for the wild ones.
how happy
He's
he is.
excited. See, that's why I love this game. It does that.
That's so cool.
It does that.
What?
So you're trying to build potions. The game ends depending on player count. After you collect so many, you get points for collecting 3 of one type of potion or 1 of 5 different types of potions. So you play until that end game triggers, and you have fun, like Max is having just looking at the game.
Oh,
So,
God.
love
All right,
it.
Card House, what are you costing over here?
All right, you've got flavor text in front of you. Put
A
your
little,
cell
a
phone
little,
away.
a little.
How dare you?
Dear students, it's that time of the year. Your last year at the Horriblorium Sorcery Academy for Witty Witches and Wizards is almost over.
That was a
and it's
very-
time
How
for
did
the
he get
final
through that?
exam.
Very clean reading. Do that. Give me one more swing of that.
But I'm gonna mess it up this
You got
time.
this.
Knocked
One
it out
more.
of the park.
Your last year at the Horriblorium Sorcery Academy for Witty Witches and Wizards is almost over. And it's
it.
time for the final exams. As always, the rules are the same. Take the ingredients from the dispenser in the potions lab to complete your potions. Keep in mind that the explosions you may trigger can be useful. The use of potions you brew during this exam is not only allowed, but encouraged. Use them wisely to do a quicker and better job, and it will prove your worth as a soon-to-be witch or wizard. When enough skill tokens have been awarded, the exam will end. Remember, though, that in order to win the Student of the Year award, you'll need to be the one who brewed the most difficult and valuable potions. Good luck!
And there's a definitely throw out to Harry Potter, Albedus Humble Score.
Oh my god! My wife is gonna go nuts.
All right, so another great game. Lords of Waterdeep. Which way? This way?
Yeah, that way.
Okay.
Because that top camera
Sure.
always looks just like you're looking.
Ah, nice. Lords of Waterdeep is a worker placement game.
Dungeons and Dragons there on the bottom.
Yes, because it's the Waterdeep. That's in the Dungeons and Dragons
Actually,
lore.
it's one of the standard
Tyrants of
playing
the
experience.
Underdark is good too.
Yeah. Well, that's not what we're doing videos about, so.
So this
Yeah, but
is this is Waterdeep. So these are it's worker placement. You get it to go to the different locations. You take your worker there. You collect the blocks I talked about earlier with Century Golem. This is not very like popping at you because it's got blocks, but these purple are supposed to be your mages, the orange are warriors, black are rogues, and white are clerics. So the theory is you're collecting these people at the harbor to go out and complete quests. So there will be different quests that are skullduggery, warfare, commerce, other things that will require different types of parties when you go out to collect those victory points. So this is just one that my wife, again, a lot of my board gaming, if my wife likes it, we're playing it.
Now you do a lot of this on your phone too, right?
Waterdeep does have an app that is very good, but we enjoy getting the board out too, and we got the broken token for it, so it's a nice way to keip everything organized. But
And
you
I'm
can
Looks like
see,
you have some expansions in there as
I
well.
do have the expansion, so you can play up to 6 players.
That's what I was just about to ask. So you do have Skullport.
Yep.
I know a lot of people say that this game really
It
should
shines.
just be played with Skullport.
Once you've played with it, you won't want to play without it.
The first time I ever played was with Skullport, so I don't think I ever want to go without it.
Yeah.
And I've not even tried it without it, but just off of what people have said, it really enhances the game.
It adds a lot to it. So other than just being a straight worker placement, then these come into play about negative victory
negative
points at the
corruption,
end. So
yeah.
it definitely makes it more of a gamer game. Like intro for sure, play the base game, but if you've got some gamers, throwing Skullport
just
is
a little more
necessity.
thinky.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome to Waterdeep, the city of splendors. You are a lord of Waterdeep, one of the secret rulers of this great city. Through your agents, you recruit adventurers to complete quests and advance your agendas. The lords of Waterdeep all have the safety of their city at heart, but each one is also laying his or her own plans. Through backdoor dealings, mercenaries, and plain old bribery, Can you guide the city to become the greatest Lord of Waterdeep?
So a lot of the information is straight up on the board. You know what quests have completed. You know how many victory points they've gotten for that. The one thing you don't know is your lord. So this is kept face down in front of you, and you will get bonus points for certain types of quest. Everyone is usually this and this gives you an extra 4. There's one that's into buildings, so if you build a lot of extra buildings, you get 6 extra points for those.
One thing that I'm really enjoying as you're unveiling these games, because we've never seen this whole collection before, is not only that they're played, but you can also see what he's done to make them a part of his collection.
Oh, yeah.
The broken token, the 3D printed, the sleeves and the baggies, and just the way you've cared for
These
it.
aren't games we just bought yesterday and we're like, oh, these will be good for a family top 10. Like,
Yeah.
You know, it's not... he really plays these. You
Yep.
saw the Skull King frickin'
Yep.
paper?
So
I mean...
I got the upgrades for above and below. There are metal coins, which I need to get.
I'm surprised you don't have the meeple upgrades.
Yes, and then there are meeples for the 4 different
See,
classes.
and that would do some for me, because when I first played this game, it was just the squares, and we've talked a lot about how thematics is a big thing for me.
You have a big problem with squares.
I do, yeah. That's why I don't like you guys that much, but...
Whoa! I was meaning the shape.
I know. Anyways, so I really think the upgrades would just do... Because it's a lot... It's such a simple thing, but it's a lot to me to see a wizard
yeah.
and not a purple token.
Yeah, it's a little orange guy holding a sword,
Right.
a wizard holding a staff. Yeah, it's nice. I
And
need
part
to
of
get
me,
those.
I like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's not anything that I grew up on.
Sure.
I've only been introduced to it recently.
Since you brought up components, this is the next one we need to talk about.
Okay.
Because this is the deluxe edition of Rise of Tribes. I did not get this on Kickstarter, and unfortunately, it showed up with an expansion on Kickstarter that just ended, and I didn't know. I'm so disappointed in myself.
So, Rise of Tribes, when we
Breaking
share this,
Games,
Breaking
you
Games,
need to get in touch with
when we
Quackalope.
share this out, I mean,
I need the expansion.
look, dedicated single video for an expansion. I think you'd do that, right?
This has some... You're going to love the artwork. There's good stuff in here, Jesse. But the reason I wanted to talk about this with components, because it is deluxe, I wanted to show you. So this is the little deluxe upgrade. So normally there are not so cool looking things that you put out on the board, but with this, you actually get to put a mammoth out onto the board.
And a wildcat.
There's a
or mountain lion.
saber-toothed tiger
This is
goes
fancy.
around and eats people.
A volcano.
There's a volcano that erupts on the map.
I'm also liking these tiles.
Yeah, no, this is a great game. So in this game, you're collecting resources. You've got mountains where you collect rock, forests where you collect the trees, and you go fishing in the lake to get food. Based upon those things, each of your there are asymmetric abilities. Again, this is another game where it can be super simple and you just play without asymmetric abilities, or you can deal out some cards where each tribe does something a little bit differently. Everybody builds their villages with different sets of resources, so there's differences in what you want to try to build around. So there's area control. It's first to 15 too. This game could be super fast, or it could drag out depending on how much you're fighting with each other. But it's a fun game. My wife loves this game. I got it for her birthday. My wife's friend, who comes over with her husband often, she loves this game, and she is perhaps the most aggressive person that I play games with. Like, it becomes a attacking game. It's not all about resource collection. Okay. She's coming for you. So
sounds like Catan over the holidays for my family.
I start on the other side of the map every time. I'm like, I'm going to go over here.
We emphasize the idea that Catan is only ever fun for 2 people.
Oh yeah. 2 people are getting screwed, or 2 or more people are getting screwed.
So yeah, this is another great game, but it's got pretty components. These upgrades instead of the little chits are nice, where you got the rocks, the trees, and the fish.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for components.
It's
man.
beautiful.
Like, I get it. I just like it. Like, I just like pretty things, man. That's why I like hanging out with you guys.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying listening to all the flavor text that I've never read.
I can't believe I'm not like a guy that reads flavor text all the time.
I never read it. I did not read it until I started coming here.
I know more flavor text than the average Joe, I would say.
I don't know why. First off, I don't know why games ignore it. And if I find a game without flavor text, I'm very confused as to why you didn't care at least a bit, just to set the scene. Because it is, for me, an important way to learn and introduce. But then also,
I guess in my mind, I always make my own. I create my own story.
Yeah, that'd be nice if I could do that, Sean.
So,
sorry, Max.
Out of context there, Max does not have a visual imagination.
It's true.
It's a thing that brains do.
It's just
Yeah.
stupid.
And I have too much of a visual imagination. So,
The Rain of Men.
We bounce each other out of here.
you are a nomadic prehistoric people. Throughout the game, you shall grow your tribe, move across the land, gather resources, and lead your people to victory. As we all know, what tribes want it most is 15 points to rise above the rest.
Is that really what
That's
it
all the
says?
flavor text. Yeah, and that's exactly what it says.
Wow, that's incredible.
The other really
I appreciate that.
this has a unique mechanic that I have not seen in another game that I would be remiss not to bring up. I shouldn't have used
Well,
that
we
word.
don't. We
Didn't
do
we
not.
just talk about that word in the car? We literally spoke about the word remiss on the way up here.
Listen, we would not want you to be remiss. So
Thank you. So in this game, when it's your turn, you roll 2 dice. So you're going to roll the dice, see what you get, and then
Seems like a bad roll.
that's not a good roll. So the base setup is this. So say I chose the actions move and gather. So I choose how powerful the action is going to be. So if wherever I put this is going to be 2 moons. So that means I'm taking a lesser action. If it's not anything is equal, you get to do this much. If it's lunar, it's a lesser action. You only get to move 2 people. If it was 2 suns, I could move 6.
like doing it at night or during the daytime type
Yeah,
of thing?
yeah.
Okay.
Thematic.
So when I go this, that's just neutral. I would gather from 2 different resources.
Sure. Mid-action.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's just an interesting way, and then this is your 15-point victory track. But I like this because it's constantly changing. And
Dice roll's a little random, but you
Yeah.
do have a little bit of choice behind that.
And what is random is still
Controllable, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just positive or negative. It's
you
how
always
good
get
you're
to
going
do something.
Yeah.
It just could be.
Yeah, it's not a, oops, you lost your turn.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a neat mechanic there as well.
Cool. And
Alright.
I was Breaking Games is who we need
Breaking
to harass
Games.
for that expansion.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, please. This is a new edition. Hadara. I keep doing that. I'll get it right, maybe.
No, you
It's
won't.
it's interesting because most people do have studios that are set up where you want to always present to the camera. We specifically have
Kept
a
that
setup
that way.
and edit in a way that allows it to always just be presented to you.
Because it's natural.
So,
Hadara, this was...
well, clearly not.
I'm just not natural.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Also an option.
So it's no. If you've watched any other videos, you've heard that my family likes drafting games. We brought Carnival of Monsters to the channel. We played that. Another one that we really like is Dungeon Draft. This is card drafting with some complexity and meat added to it.
Okay.
So in this game, you are creating Hadara. I think in there it says it's maybe an Islamic word for culture or civilization.
I don't know. I'm not seeing any flavor text in here.
Well, that's impossible. Jesse would have to write them.
Introduction.
There you go. Arabic for civilization and culture. I know it was close.
Well, now you've spoiled the flavor text.
Yeah, how dare you?
So this game's kind of neat. It has a modular setup where you set it up, and there's different cards that are going to come out for the drafting phases. You put this board together, so there's going to be a little difference in that. And then after you do that, you're going to hand out who's going first. There's 2 phases to each round, and there's only 3 epochs. I guess you'd argue with how to say that correctly. In the first round, each person will have one of these symbols. So you've got the lion, the monkey, Pegasus, and dragon. So whoever is first player will set which stack they want to draft from first. You take 2 cards, you look at them, you pick one of these, and you can either sell it for money or place it into your civilization. If you do, then you increase your level on that track, and this other card goes here. In the second phase of the game, you're drafting from the discard piles. So you're only going to take 1 card from one of the discard piles. But as you build your civilization, you're looking at yellow is commerce, red is military, blue is culture, green is food, purple is kind of a mix
Technology,
of everything.
okay.
Yeah, technology is a good way to put it. In this game, you have to feed your people at the end of every round. So feeding your people is each person in your
So
town.
weird how civilization games do that.
Yeah.
They always make you feed your people.
I don't understand.
That's so, like, not thematic at all.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Whatever. That's besides the point, though.
Well, in this game, you got to have enough food to feed your people at the end of each round.
That's going to take a while to get my brain wrapped around, but we can try.
We'll get there.
So there's a lot of ways to get points here. You can carve statues with your culture, with your military.
Oh, that makes sense. Carving statues with your culture, though, that's perfect. Thematic.
Is it? Okay.
That makes way more sense to my
I
brain.
can't tell when you're being sarcastic or not.
I don't quite get the joke because they both make sense.
Okay.
It makes less sense than feeding your people.
With your military, you go and you conquer colonies. The neat thing about these, you can get money from getting them, or you can pay to integrate them into your society, and you get that bump on your tracks. So it's a game where you're trying to increase your tracks, collect those resources, build up your civilization, and have the most victory points at the end by either set collection. You can get these gold medals for every set you have. They could be worth 7 or 14 if you build both medals. You can get half your victory points for a track if you build these silver medals. So yeah, it's a drafting game that's a lot of fun. And surprisingly, this has a lot more to it than Carnival of Monsters or Dungeon Draft. But I really like the drafting aspect. And I know my wife liked that, so I was like, let's try this. And I was like, I want to see if you like it. And she did.
Important question. You've mentioned it twice now. Was Carnival of Monsters left off of this list because it doesn't fit into the top 10 or because we've already covered it?
This bumped it.
Cool. Cool.
I made an Excel sheet, and it was Hadara, Carnival of Monsters, and then Dungeon Draft.
And this one took the cake?
And this one took that slot.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay.
So yeah, this one's a lot of fun. I really like this game.
Now let's see if we can figure out that food thing, Max. That flavor text down there. See
Oh,
if that helps
yeah.
us.
Let's see.
Feed your people.
In Hadara, it's your chance to make history. Over 3 epochs, guide the growth of your civilization as new ideas emerge. Take great strides forward in the many fields of human achievement to build an empire more glorious than any other. Skilled artisans, philosophers, warriors, and architects from various cultures bring their genius to aid you in your endeavors, but it rests with you to choose the best citizens to build your strength and prestige.
Doesn't even talk about
Yeah, nothing about feeding the people.
Nothing about feeding
that's
the people.
fascinating. It did help me understand why culture does influence statues,
the architects.
though. So,
Yeah.
Right.
And now, the best game that you've brought, right? I mean, because this is the last one.
Last but not least, I saved it for last just because it's the 10th anniversary, and it is so awesome.
I was looking for a random game to pull off the shelf and be like, and this is
didn't
it.
get it. I didn't get it.
You didn't do it.
I'm 0 for 10.
Oh, and by the way, we always have a standard rule here at Quackalope that all top 10 lists are automatically invalidate Kingdom Death being eligible for them.
Because it's a list of its own.
It will, because it just will win every category.
I'll keep that in mind for when I bring mine.
Yeah, it wins every category placed in front of it.
See, that's an interesting point, though. I really want to do a top 10 because it makes me think harder. Without including any of those. Gloomhaven, Kingdom Death are both
it's hard.
there.
It's hard.
That's 2 of my top 10 that I kind of want to exclude, not because they're not board games, they are.
They're just always going
But,
to be
like,
there.
what are my favorite, like, board games that I play in, like,
Well,
I don't know.
I'm excited to see your list. The list that I'm working on, if we're giving previews to people, I have 2. Top 10 favorite flavor text.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
and top 10 board games to take hiking, where I actually film it on top of a mountain after carrying them all up. I did consider bringing Kingdom Death. I'm still not sure.
No.
I'm still not sure.
I feel like you've
bags.
got to take
Here.
Hive.
Listen.
They don't
Have you
make
ever
bags
played
that
Hive?
I'll dig into it. Ticket
I
to
haven't.
Ride.
Ticket to Ride may have been the first board game that my wife and I played together.
Cool.
So it holds that place in my heart.
Strong nostalgia.
Yes.
I feel like you just got a little choked
I
up.
did.
Holds that place in my heart.
Love you, hon.
She's gonna have to watch this. Timestamp it.
Oh, she will.
This is the
You gotta
10th
figure out the timestamp. 32 minutes
Just
and
a-
12 seconds.
just a direct
quotation
timestamp on
"Love you, hun."
Love you, hun.
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
There you go. So this is the 10th anniversary edition that does a couple of things. When Ticket to Ride came out the first time around, it came with cards that were about that big.
I remember them.
And those were not fun to play with.
Fortunately, I've only played Europe, so I haven't had to deal with that.
Well, so Europe came out and they immediately fixed
right.
that.
Well, you have to buy like New York to
Well,
get it. Or
no,
what's
you
the-
have to buy the 1910 expansion
1910,
to get the
okay.
big cards for
Gotcha.
America. So this beauty
I'm interested to see this.
comes, you can search for your text there, with a gorgeous, huge map. Like this is probably 175% of the regular map.
Oh, it is.
So it is ginormous.
Yeah, that's a big map.
I like that they added some artwork in here. So we got like Mount Rushmore up here. Over here in DC, we
Raleigh.
got the Capitol. Got some boats in the water.
What'd they do for Kentucky?
This doesn't seem accurate.
Kentucky didn't even make the map. It's just here.
I guess this might be.
St. Louis
No,
is there.
it's not accurate.
Nashville made it.
The lack of Kentucky feels accurate.
Yeah, that's kind of our life.
Yeah, that's accurate.
I mean, there's no bourbon smugglers going anywhere on
No,
this map. All
no.
right. Well, I'm gonna call that bicycle boy a bourbon smuggler.
He's biking the Legacy Trail.
All right.
The delight that these trains, you get these individualized trains. You got
those
the
are
coal.
nice.
You got little giraffes coming out of the red train.
That's because it's a circus.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
it's the circus.
I thought they were the conductors.
The transit train. The hobo caboose.
This is a little like barrel train.
Yeah.
What are these? Oh,
Those
score
are your
markers.
point markers.
I was like, I've never even...
That is Dutch Flat Barrel Co. for your barrels.
Metropolitan Rapid Transit.
All right.
Why are these
All
any
right.
more
So
rapid?
this is beautiful, but for the very few people who aren't familiar with Ticket to Ride, what is it and why do you still enjoy it? Even though it was one of the first.
I do. So there's levels of playing Ticket to Ride. There's just have fun, build your tickets, connect the cities, make some routes. You get victory points. Whoever gets the most points wins.
It's a route building, and it doesn't have any pick up and deliver, does it? It's just route
No,
building.
it's just
Yeah.
route.
Yep,
You're
just route
connecting, and the beauty is, so you make one route connection, and then you look for new destinations, and you can use that train that you've already set up to
chain.
build other ones. So that's fun to do. Then there's like this next level of like hate drafting. Like you learn the destination tickets, you start blocking people. Like one.
The moment you see someone
Yeah,
take this
so,
port,
like,
you're
here.
like, oh, I know they're going for Phoenix to Pittsburgh.
Nashville to Atlanta, if you block that and someone needed to get down to Miami, it sucks to have to come
Sure.
down here and then go back around. So you can block and do some nasty stuff in this game. But short of doing that, every time we've played this, we've had fun. We had a family over actually 2 weeks ago. We played this. Actually, we played Europe, and they bought it.
Okay.
They went home and then said, "What was the name of that game again?
Yeah.
Is this a good price?"
Yeah.
And like bought it on Amazon Prime the next day, and they were playing it at their house the
Nice.
next day.
And if the hate draft aspect doesn't appeal to you, not only did Sean mention you don't have to play that way, but research what version you think is best for you.
Right.
A lot of what is it? What's the version that? It's not Europe. What's the version that does Germany? That has zero, like it's got the tunnels and stuff that you can.
Yeah, I just know that
that
there's
is
a lot of versions with different
Yeah,
applications.
whatever.
The classic
Europe-
is going
Europe-
to be this one.
Yeah, Europe has stations where you can put the station on
To-
top to
right.
use someone else's connection.
Yeah, there's different variations that can be more hateful,
Yeah.
less hateful. Just find the one that's right for you.
I'm just always impressed with how solid of an introductory board game Ticket to Ride is and has become.
I feel like it's almost a mainstay. Like
No, it is.
It's just a mainstay.
It is.
It
think
rivals
it's
Catan.
I think
right
it's an
up there.
evergreen.
This
right
would
now.
probably be the one that I would always put on the table. Like when we had that couple over, I'd never met him. My wife had. It's someone she teaches with.
And this
but
is what you grab.
this is what we put on the table first. It's a fun, easy game. I like that they put thought into it. Like for people that are colorblind, each of the colors actually has a little symbol built behind
Oh,
it,
cool.
so
Yeah.
people can see that.
What about these gray ones?
Well, it's gray, so it's just whatever color you want it to be.
Yeah, yeah, you know me. Moving on. And
All
one,
right.
and a two.
So
Well, the gray ones have no symbol, which does differentiate them from all the others.
all right now that stop
Anyway,
being logical.
love Ticket to Ride. I was able to snag this up on the secondary market because 10th anniversary for me was prior to me really getting into the board game. So I kind of scoured the secondary market, found someone that wasn't asking for an arm and a leg. Got this for my wife as a present as well. So
How accessible is this fancy version as opposed to... Because the standard, readily accessible.
you're not going to find this unless you're willing to spend over $150.
Okay. I feel like I've seen it recently, but it was like 150.
Yeah.
And so while this is beautiful,
Yeah, don't go after this game.
the standard version is going to be... I mean, it's a $20 buy.
The standard version is the exact same game. The map's about
Yep.
that big. The trains are just colored and not shaped.
Yeah.
But
I love Europe.
The game is
yeah.
awesome, but I just got this because it has such nostalgia in our family. I wanted to have the anniversary edition.
And for someone who has never read Flavor Text,
Oh no! Finish us off.
I've
Sean.
definitely never read this one.
let's wrap this video up.
All right,
It's
on
a big one too.
that's a lot of words.
You got to respect it.
On a blustery autumn evening, 5 old friends met in the back room of one of the city's oldest and most private clubs. Each had traveled a long distance from all corners of the world to meet on this very specific day, October 2nd, 1900. 28 years to the day that the London eccentric Phileas Fogg accepted and then won a 20-pound bet,
20,000
20,000-pound bet, that he could travel around the world in 80 days. I had no idea any of that history was here.
Yeah.
When the story of Fogg's triumphant journey filled all the newspapers of the day, the five attended university together. Inspired by his impetuous gamble and a few pints from the local pub, the group commemorated his circumnavigation with a more modest excursion and wager. A bottle of good claret... I don't drink alcohol.
Probably Claret.
Claret?
Just sounds fancy.
I only drink bourbon. Replace it.
A bottle of good bourbon to the first to
But
make it
Kentucky's
to
not on the board, so whiskey.
Le Précoupe in Paris. Each succeeding year, they met to celebrate the anniversary and pay tribute to Fogg. And each year, a new expedition, always more difficult, with a new wager, always more expensive, was proposed. Now, at the dawn of the century, it was time for a new impossible journey. The stakes. 1 million in a winner-takes-all competition. The objective. To see which of them could travel by rail to the most cities in North America in just 7 days. The journey would begin immediately. Ticket to Ride is a cross-country train adventure. Players compete to connect to different cities by laying claim to railway routes on a map of North America.
Did you know that was the lore of this game?
He didn't even know there were trains in this game.
But how? I mean, for me, that's kind of neat. That the idea, the concept behind it is actually journeying on an adventure and crisscrossing instead of just building train routes.
So after reading this, I wonder why the game isn't just 7 rounds, though. The whole 7 days thing threw me off.
And I was going to say,
How
it
many
kind of
rounds
threw
is
me
it?
off.
It goes until you get down to 0, 1, or 2 trains, and then that triggers the final
I
round.
also think it threw me off because it said connect the most cities.
Yes.
And there are different routes that are
It's
longer, less cities, but worth more points.
But here's what I can say.
That was interesting, too.
It was good.
I would speculate that the flavor text for the 10th anniversary
maybe is different.
is
than-
different from the flavor text.
Oh, I'm
for the
sure
core.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
This is something specifically for this adventure.
I like that, though, that it gives that history of these 5 guys, because there's 5 players that got together and said, okay, here's the competition. Go do it.
But you're right. Doesn't quite match up. Good try, Ticket to Ride, but you're off the list.
You're not on his top 10 flavor
You're not on the
text.
top 10 flavor text list. And that will have been top 10 family game. How do you feel after going through them all? You feel like they're solid choices?
I do. Like I said, with every one, I was like, I enjoy it. I love seeing Max's face with Potion Explosion and just the excitement of dropping the marbles. Like, just these games are fun, accessible, and I think they bring to the table an environment where people are going to want to come back and play more games. And that's, at the end of the day, I think what we're trying to do.
So the last thing I want to pose, for people who've made it to this point who are interested in and discovering brand new family games or stuff, when you're going and looking for, because you add a lot of games to your collection. It's not just these
Wife
10.
can't watch this section.
Exactly.
Just timestamp the love you, hun.
when
That's all she
you're-
needs to see.
When you're looking at other games that you might bring to the table with your roster of players, what are the things you try to keep in mind that make games compete with, or games that have to compete with these when they come back into the house?
Yeah, I think I look at mechanics, and is it something that I know what my wife likes. My wife likes card drafting. She likes worker placement. So I look for those mechanics, and then theme. Unfortunately, isn't the big thing at our house. I know it is here. I know it is.
It's your mistake. You're allowed to be wrong.
We're allowed to be wrong at my house. But if, like, with the whole Hadara thing, like, I really was like, let's try Hadara. Because I know she loves drafting, and I loved Hadara, and I was ready to... I love Carnival of Monsters, but I needed something a little bit more, and I'm glad she loved it. So I look for those mechanics that I know that they like, ones that my kids will enjoy. My 5-year-old, bless his heart, wants to play every game I put out. Like, I had Star Wars Rebellion out, was playing with my 13-year-old who's a Star Wars fanatic.
Okay.
And he's like, I want to play Star Wars. I'm like, you don't even know. He just likes moving the little ships around.
The crazy thing is he still beat you.
Yeah, he did. Actually, he did. But yeah, so I look for games that are accessible to them, themes that they like. Again, and today we were talking about this on the drive up. Marvel, my kids all love Marvel. So You're
gonna get Marvel Splendor. We know
Splendor was just eked off the list by Century Golem. It's like my wife. It's like 1A. It's just over there.
So that's my one question: is if Splendor is 1A, wouldn't that make it like 2?
But
why shouldn't it be in your top 10?
I wasn't. This is hard to do. You admitted making a top 10 list is hard.
He didn't only just admit.
He just chose not to do it.
Do it.
I'm just saying, if you said it, it's your 1A. Just make it 2.
But I wanted some variety to the table. I wanted
That's
for me,
totally fair. I've never played
for
it,
me,
so I don't know how it compares.
a game that is in the same category does not necessarily mean that game drops down to the second slot. It means that because there's a depth, but then also a surface. Like 3 worker placement.
And you saw the sheet. It was depth, and then there was...
Yeah, and that's the thing for me. It doesn't mean it always slots down. It sometimes means if I'm choosing between these two to play, I'm grabbing this one 67% of the time.
I think to answer your question, Max, the reason why I did that was exactly that. Is I wanted a top 10 with variety.
Yeah.
So when I picked drafting, I went for Century Golem Edition. When I picked worker placement, I did Lords of Waterdeep, where my wife also likes Stone Age.
Sure.
There's a variety in Kingsburg.
Now,
other
Stone
placement
Age is
games.
one of the few games where you don't actually have to feed your citizens.
Well, they eat your rocks and your logs if you don't have the food to feed them.
Yep. No, there's a whole game strategy around never getting food.
Well, and if you do that, it's tough.
No, but there's a legit winning strategy around never getting food.
I don't read Reddit that much.
Regardless, I pretty much wildly disagree with your entire list, mostly because I never played all of them.
Well, we'll
for
have
2.
to try to remedy
I
that.
cannot wait till you bring a list, Max.
See, I was thinking in my brain a family list, but like, it's just my wife. My kids are lower than 3. We don't play games with them yet, so I can't really compare as far as a family list go. I could maybe do couples.
Sure.
Or
You do
something
whatever
like
you
that,
want.
but
Other than just not bring something
But I
in.
appreciate you and for the invitation to do it. I actually sat down with my wife and said, "Hey, honey, Jesse
that's
asked me to
cool.
make a list of
Yeah.
10 games. These are ones based on our statistics of how often we play. What do you think about this?" And she's the one that helped push some
Yeah.
off and put some on.
And this is cool for me because this is never a list I would be able to craft.
right.
I have family games, but they're more like holidays and classics that I've enjoyed growing up.
No.
But they're not. I don't know. It's just very hard for me to figure out what categories I can make. And so listening to and discovering some other people's who are here on the channel with me, I actually find a lot more entertaining than just me talking about like the 7 games I play, which I've also done other content on the channel.
I mean, your
about.
viewers probably find it more entertaining too. So
That's true. Either way, if you made it to this point, leave a comment down below letting us know what is a family game that you love.
Definitely.
That was not on this list. And, or, if you have any suggestions that might knock some of his out, maybe
Let me
you've
know.
played and you've had things
I love
replaced.
getting new games.
Yeah. His wife, again, cannot see this part of the video, so please just, anyone that's sharing this, make sure to cut that out.
Direct message.
DM.
I'll DM you a few.
Thanks.
Either way, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more lists like this, let us know what you'd like to see crafted. And whatever you do.
Remember to do the important thing.
Get out and play some games.
Thank you. Until next time.
We'll see you next
We'll
time.
see you next time.
Yep.
Thank you.
There we go.